morning students. So this is the class for 8th standard subject social and topic name is history second lesson from trade to territory. Okay. So Anglo-Maratha Wars, okay. So the Marathas managed to overcome the crisis caused by the defeat at Panipat and after decade recovered their control over Delhi. So after Panipat War, okay, they defeated, Marathas defeated at the Panipat War. Due to that, after 10 years only they recovered and also recovered the Delhi, okay. And however, the old Marathas confederacies controlled by the Peshwas and had given way to 5 virtually independent states, okay. So after the Marathas territory, okay, with the Maratha states and all under the control of Peshwa. So after that, Peshwas declared 5 independent states, okay. So the 5 independent states are Peshwa at Pune and Gaiwads at Baroda and Bonsley at Nagpur and Holkars at Indore and Sindhyas at Gwalior. The Peshwa's government was weakened by internal rivalries and the other 4 leaders were often hostile to one another. So in the Peshwa's government very weakened, okay, very weakened by the internal affairs. உள்நாட்டு புரட்சினால அவங்க பெஸ்வாவோட கவர்மெண்ட் ரொம்ப வீக்காக இருக்குது. And the other 4 leaders were often hostile to one another, okay. So other 4 என்றால் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா மாற்றி ஒருத்தருக்கு ஒருத்தர் எதிர்த்துக்கிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. And despite this, the Marathas were still formidable power, okay. So even though they are having internal affairs, internal rivalries, okay, but the Marathas having more strong, powerful, okay. The internal conflict among the Marathas was best utilized by the British in their expansionist of policy, okay. So the British and all using their internal rivalries, okay, the internal rivalries of Marathas, okay, and because of that the British and all started to expand their policy system, okay. So next one is the first Anglo-Maratha War between 1775 to 1782 causes, okay. And in the case of Marathas, the first British inventions was at the time of dispute over the succession to the Peshwaship following the death of Narayana Rao. So after the death of Narayana Rao, there will be a fighting between for the post of Peshwaship, okay. And after the death of Narayana Rao, Raghunatha Rao became the Peshwa, but his authority was challenged by the strong party at Pune under the Nana Bhatnavis, okay. So after the death of Narayana Rao, who is coming to the throne, Raghunatha Rao coming to the throne in as a Peshwa, okay. And but his authority is challenged between at the place of Pune, okay, and under the leadership of under the head of Nana Bhatnavis, okay. And so Nana Bhatnavis என்ன பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா சேலஞ்ச் பண்ணுறாரு, ஓகேவா, யார், ரகுநாத ராவை, ஓகே. அண்ட் த பார்ட்டி ரெகனைஸ் த இன்ஃபேன்ட் born posthumously to Narayana Rao's wives Ganga Boy as the Peshwa and set up a council of regency in his name. Having failed in his bid to capture the power, Raghunatha Rao approached the British for help. So after that, after Raghunatha Rao died, okay, so in the battle his wife's throne as the post of Peshwa, okay. His Narayana Rao's wife name is கங்கா பாய், ஓகேவா. ஸோ அவங்கள வந்து பெஸ்வாவை டிக்ளேர் பண்ணுறாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் அவங்களோட பையன், ஓகேவா, நாராயண ராவோட பையனை வந்து நெக்ஸ்ட் பெஸ்வாவை டிக்ளேர் பண்ணுறாங்க, ஓகேவா. அண்ட் the Treaty of Surat between English and Raghunatha Rao was concluded, okay, in the year 1775. So there will be a treaty between English and also Raghunatha Rao, okay, and which is in 1775. However, the majority of the Supreme British Council in Calcutta was opposed to the Surat Treaty. So the Supreme British Councils in Calcutta, they opposed to the Treaty of Surat, although Warren Hastings himself had no objection to the ratifying the treaty, okay. So British Council only opposed that treaty, okay. But Warren Hastings did not say anything, okay. அவங்க வந்து அப்ஜெக்ஷன் சொல்லவே இல்லை, யார், வாரன் ஹாஸ்டிங். and the council sent Colonel Upton to Pune to negotiate a peace with the Pune regency. Accordingly, Upton concluded the Treaty of Puranthar in 1776. The treaty, however, did not take effect due to the opposition from the English government in Bombay. So the council sent Colonel Upton to the Pune. Okay, so the British council sending Colonel Upton to the Pune in order to sign the Treaty of Puranthar in 1776. Okay, so in the treaty which is opposed by the English government, that is why the treaty was not signed, okay, in Bombay. So இந்த ட்ரீட்டியில் வந்து இங்கிலீஷ் கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து அப்போசிஷன் தெரிவித்தனால அவங்களால எந்த இதுவுமே செய்ய முடியல, அப்படி ஸ்டாப் பண்ணிட்டாங்க இந்த ட்ரீட்டியை. ஓகே, அண்ட் கோர்ஸ் இன் 1781 வாரன் ஹாஸ்டிங் dispatched the British troops under the captain Boham. ஓகேவா, ஸோ the Warren Hastings dispatching one British troop under the the captain of Boham, and he defeated the Maratha chiefs Mahadaji Scindias in a number of small battles and captured Gwalior. ஓகேவா, so this captain captured the Gwalior, and later on 17 May 1782 the Treaty of Salbai was signed between the Warren Hastings and also Mahadaji Scindia. Okay, so there will be a treaty between the treaty name is the Treaty of Salbai, which is signed between Warren Hastings and also Mahadaji Scindia. Okay, in the year 17 May 1782. So the results, Raghunatha Rao was pensions of, and Madhava Rao II was accepted as a Peshwa. So for Raghunatha Rao they given a pensions, and also they resigned the job, and also Madhava Rao II was accepted the Peshwas, and Salsat was given to the British. Okay, so this is a place given to the British people, and the Treaty of Salbai established the British influence in Indian politics. Okay, so the Treaty of Salbai is giving more influences in India. The British having more influence in Indian politics. Okay, and it provided the British 20 years of peace with the Marathas. Okay, so during 20 years there will be a peace continued in between British and Marathas. Okay, and the internal affairs of Marathas, deteriorated further after the close of the first Maratha war. Okay, so there will be a internal affairs when first Maratha was entered. Okay, and Nana Fetnawis grew fond of powers and jealous of Mahadaji Scindia, and became progressively inclined to seek the support of the English. Okay, so the Nana Fetnawis having more power. Okay, so that power is Mahadaji Scindia having more jealous about Nana Fetnawis, so that he getting support from the he asking support of the English. Okay, the young Peshwa Madhava Rao II tried to improve the affairs, but could not check the rivalry of Maratha chiefs. Okay, so the young Peshwa Madhava Rao want to recover the affairs. Okay, but he did not know about the Maratha chiefs. Okay, and Mahadaji Scindia died in 1794 and was succeeded by the grand nephew Daulat Rao Scindia. So after the Mahadaji Scindia died, okay, and after that who is coming to the throne means his grand nephew Daulada Scindia. His death left Nana Fetnawis supreme at the Pune. So after his death, okay, who is coming to the next throne means Fetnawis having supreme power at Pune, and the English to expand their influence in North India. So having that, the English started to expand their power in North India, and Peshwa Madhava Rao II committed suicide in the year 1795, and Baji Rao II, worthless son of Raghunatha Rao, became the Peshwa. So Madhava Rao committed suicide, and also Baji Rao II's sons, useless sons Raghunatha Rao, became a Peshwa, and the death of Nana Fetnawis in 1800 gave the British added advantages. So the death of Nana Fetnawis, the British having more advantages over the death of Nana Fetnawis. Okay, and so that Jaswant Rao Holkar and Daulat Rao Scindia were fighting against each other. Okay, so the two of them are fighting against each other. The Peshwa supported Scindia against Holkar. So the Peshwa supported Scindia in order to against Holkar, and the Peshwa and Scindia agreed to help each other. Okay, so the Peshwa Scindia ஒருத்தருக்கு help பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படினு agree பண்ணாங்க, and Holkar marched against the Peshwa. The Holkar is marched against Peshwa. The combined forces of Scindia and the Peshwa were utterly defeated in 1802 and captured the city. So the combined forces of Scindiaவும் and Peshawவும் சேர்ந்து defeat பண்ணிடுறாங்க in 1802 and captured the city. Bajirao II and approached Lord Wellesley, the Governor General of India, for help. Okay, so the Bajirao was against asking help to Lord Wellesley, okay, and Lord Wellesley welcomed the Peshwa and made him to sign the Treaty of Bazaine. In other words, the Treaty of Subsidiary Alliances, accepting the status of British subsidiary in 1802. So the Lord Wellesley asked him Peshwa to sign in the treaty. The treaty name is Bazaine, okay, and another treaty also signed subsidiary alliances. So accepting that treaties, okay, the British subsidiary in 1802. As an immediate to the Treaty of Bazaine, the British troops marched under the command of Arthur Wellesley towards the Pune. So after that, the British troops and all went towards okay, and also marched under the command of Arthur Wellesley towards Pune and restored the Peshwa to his position. Okay, so they restored the position of Peshwa and the forces was Holkar vanished from the Marathas capital. So the Holkar position வந்து full vanish பண்ணிடுறாங்க எங்க Marathasல. Okay. And the Second Anglo-Marathas War causes after accepting the subsidiary alliances by the Peshwa and Daulat Rao Scindia and Raghojee Bonsley accepted to save Marathas independence. So after the subsidiary alliances by the Peshwa and Daulat Rao Scindia and Raghojee Bonsley accepted to save Marathas independence, okay, but the well prepared and organized army of the English under the Arthur Wellesley defeated combined armies of Scindia and Bonsley at Azay and Aragon. Okay, so there will be a strong army forces under the control of Arthur Wellesley and they defeated Scindia and Bonsley in these places. Okay, and of course the English forced them to conclude separate subsidiary treaties, namely the Treaty of Diogan and the Treaty of Sajji Arjun Khan respectively in 1803. So there will be another treaty which is signed by, okay, so English forced to conclude the subsidiary, the English வந்து force பண்ணி இந்த subsidiary treatiesல வந்து sign பண்ண வைக்கிறாங்க. The treaty of the name is Treaty of Diogan and the Treaty of Sajji Arjun Khan, okay, Arjun Khan, and but Yashwantrao Holkar, also called as a Yashwantrao Holkar, and yes to be defeated, okay, so was yet undefeated, okay, so the Holkar வந்து அவங்க இன்னும் தோற்கடிக்க முடியல. Okay, he had not participated in the war so far. Okay, so Yashwantrao Holkar did not participate in the war and Holkar blundered the territory of Jaipur and in 1804 the English declared the war against him. So the Holkar captured the territory of Jaipur. So due to that the English declared a war against Holkar and Yashwantrao Holkar made an attempt to form a coalitions of Indian rulers to fight against the British. So British எதிராக Yashwantrao வந்து யாரோட கூட்டணி சேர்றாங்க, Indian rulers, but his attempt proved unsuccessful. Okay, so but his attempt was very unsuccessful one. But Marathas were defeated and reduced the British vassalage and isolated from one another. Okay, so the Marathas were fully defeated. It is under the control of British. Okay, and the results, the Marathas powers were gradually weakened. Okay, Marathas or power வந்து கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா குறைய ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. Marathas the English East India Company started becoming the paramount power in India. So in India the English East India Company power became very strongest. Okay. So next one is the Third Anglo-Maratha Wars. Okay, causes. The Third Anglo-Maratha War was the final and decisive conflict between the British East India Company and the Maratha Empire in India. Okay, so there will be a Third Anglo-Marathas will be happen. Okay, but this is the conflict between British East India Company and also Maratha Empire in India. It began with the invasions of Maratha territory by the British East India Company troops. Okay, so it will be invasions of Maratha territory by the East India Company troops. The troops were led by the Governor General Hastings and he was supported by the force under the General of Thomas. So this troop is supported by the British General Thomas Hislop. Okay, and This is also led by the Warren Governor General Hastings, okay, and Koz, the Peshwa of Bajirao II forces and followed by those of Muthoji II Bhonsle of Nagpur and Malhar Rao Holkar III of Indore and rose against the British. Okay, so these people and all joined and also in order to against the British, and Daulat Rao Sindhya of Gwalior and remained neutral. Okay, so Daulat Rao Sindhya will be a very neutral in this war, and the Peshwa was defeated in the Battle of Gadgi and Kurigans, and several minor battles were fought by the Peshwa's forces to prevent his capture. So in order to prevent from the British capture, they are fighting more, okay, and Bhonsle was defeated in the battle of Sitbaldi, and Holkar in the battle was Mahidpur, okay. So these places under captured by the British, and results, the Maratha Confederacy was dissolved and Peshwaships were abolished, okay. So the Maratha will be under the control of British, and the Peshwaship was also abolished. Most of the territories of Peshwa's Bajirao II was annexed and became the part of the Bombay Presidency. So the Bajirao II, all the places under the control of British, and also it will be joined or connected to the Bombay Presidency. The defeat of the Bhonsle and Holkar also resulted in the acquisitions of Maratha kingdoms of Nagpur and Indore by the British. Okay, so after the defeat of Bhonsle and Holkar, okay, Holkar, all his territory will be under the control of British, and Bajirao II and the last Peshwa of Marathas was given an annual pension of 8 lakh rupees. So for Bajirao, they are given pensions, okay. He is the last Peshwa of Maratha who Bajirao II, okay. The British giving annual pensions as a 8 lakh rupees, okay. Okay, the next one is the British administration organization in India. The British Indian administration was run by 4 principal institutions: civil service, army, police, and judiciary. Okay, so these are the 4 principal institutions which is run by British East India administration. Okay, first one is civil service. The term civil service was used for the first time by the East India Company to distinguish its civilian employees for their military counterparts. Translate law into action and collecting revenue were the main jobs for the civil service. Okay, in the civil service, this will be the main jobs for them. Okay, translating law into action and also collecting the revenue from the main job. The civil service was initially commercial in nature, but later it was transformed into public service. Okay, so the civil service is the first or commercial purpose இருந்தது, அதுக்கப்புறம் எப்படி அந்த public service turn ஆயிடுச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. Okay, so in this beginning, the appointment to these service was the sole prerogative of the court of the directors of the company. Okay, so in this, the appointment was under the control of directors of company. But the nominate civil servant indulged in corruptions, bribery, and illegal private trade. Okay, so the nominated civil service, they were indulged in these things. Okay, corruption, bribery, and illegal private trade. So Cornwallis, who came to India as the Governor General in 1786, enforced rules against private trade. Okay, so when the Cornwallis came to India, she regulated some rules against private traders. Okay, and he also raised the salary of the company servants, who became the highest paid civil servant in the world. So he only increased the salary of the civil servants, so they only get the highest salary in the world. And Lord Worsley, who came in India as his Governor General in 1798, so Lord Worsley came to India as a Governor General in this year and introduced the idea of suitable training for the civil servant. Okay, so he only introduced some ideas about training for civil. So Lord William only establishing colleges in Fort William at Calcutta, and in order to give training for in this field, literature, science, and languages. However, the directors of company disapproved of his action and replaced it by their own East India College and established the Haileybury in England in 1806. Okay, so Lord Worsley introduced the colleges in Fort William at Calcutta. Okay, so but this was disapproved by the East India. Okay, so this was replaced by its own East India College. Okay, so the name will be replaced by East India College, and it is established in Haileybury at England in 1806. the idea of competitions were the requirement was introduced first time by the Charter Act 1833. Okay, but the system of competition was these not nominated by the court of directors were not eligible to write the competitive examination. So under this Charter Act 1833, the system of competition will be conducted by the court of directors. Okay, the not eligible persons not participate in the competitive examination. Hence the system was called nominations cum competition system. Okay, so after that the system is called as a nomination cum competition system. The system of requirement on the basis of the open competitive examination was introduced in the 1853. So the open competitive examinations which is introduced in the year 1853, the system was confirmed by the Government of India Act 1858. Okay, so the system according to the Government of India Act confirm declare பண்றாங்க. And the maximum age for competitor was fixed at 23, and subsequently East India College at Haileybury was abolished in 1858, and requirement to civil service became the responsibility of civil service commissions. Okay, so the age for the competitors is 23, and the East India College at Haileybury was abolished பண்ணிட்டாங்க இந்த இயர்ல 1858, and the requirement of civil service became the responsibility for the civil service commission. Okay, so for civil service commission, who is responsible? The civil service. Okay, and the civil service became the responsibility of the Civil Service Commission. By the regulations of 1860, the maximum age was lowered. Okay, decrease பண்ணிட்டாங்க எப்படின்னா to 22, and 1866 to 21, and 1876 to 19 அப்படி lower பண்ணிக்கிட்டே வராங்க the age. And Indian Civil Service Act of 1861 passed by the British Parliament exclusively reserved certain categories of high executive and judicial posts for the convenient civil service, which was later designed as the Indian Civil Service. Okay, so after that which is designed by Indian Civil Service only. Due to the lower age limit and holding of examination in London, so they conducted exam at London only. Okay, in London only they conducted. It could be possible only for few wealthy Indians to appear at the ICS examination. So they are conducting exam in London, so only wealthy Indians only they can able to appear in the ICS examination. In 1869, the three Indians, Surendranath Banerjee and Ramesh Chandradutt and Bihari Lal Gupta became the successful in the ICS examination. So the three Indians only successfully returned in the ICS examination. Okay, and Satyendranath Tagore, the elder brother of the poet Rabindranath Tagore, was the first Indian to pass the ICS examination in 1863. Okay, so Rabindranath Tagore brother. Okay, Satyendranath Tagore only first Indian to pass in the ICS examination. And later on the Indians demanded to increase the age limit and to establish the center for examination in India instead of England. So Englandல பதிலா இந்தியால கண்டக்ட் பண்ணுங்க அப்படினு சொல்றாங்க examination. Okay, so the age limit also demanded. Okay, increase பண்ண சொல்லி demand பண்றாங்க. Okay, so in 1892 the minimum age limit for appearing in the civil service examination was raised to 21, and the maximum to 23. Okay, so after that they raised the age from 21 and the maximum is 23. And 1912 royal commissions on the public service was appointed. Okay, so they are appointing the royal commissions on the public service. Okay, chaired by the Lord Livingstone's. Okay, distinctions. Okay, so Lord Distinction will be the under the guidance of Lord Distinction. This commission had two Indian members. Okay, and G.K. Gokhale and Sir Abdur Rahim. So besides the four Englishmen, the commissions published its report in 1917. Distinction commission's recommendations partly fulfilled the demand for the Indianizations of civil service. Okay, so under the guidance of Distinction commission, they partly fulfilled the demand of the Indianizations civil service. Okay, in 1918, de Montego and Lord Chelmsford recommended that 33% Indians should be required in Indian civil service, and gradually the number should be increased. Okay, so under these 2%, they are telling recommended that 33% of them Indian has to participate in the civil service examination. Okay, so after that gradually they will increase the numbers. Okay, and 1923 the Royal Commissions on Public Service was appointed with the Lord Lee of Fairholmes as a chairman. So after that the Royal Commissions of Public Service appointed Lord Lee of Fairholmes as a chairman. Okay, this commission recommended that requirement to all the Indian service like Indian civil service and the Indian police service and the Indian forest service should be made on control by the Secretary of State for India. Okay, so in this commissions are their requirement. Okay, they are taking members for Indian service like Indian civil service, the Indian police service, and also Indian forest service. Okay, it will be under the control of Secretary of the State for India. The Lee commissions recommended the immediate establishment of Public Service Commission. The Act of 1935 also made provisions for the establishment in Federal Public Service Commission at the center and the Provisional Public Service Commission in the various provinces. The provisions was also made for Joint Public Service Commission in 2 or more provinces. So in the particular provisions they will be conducted for Federal Public Service Commission center will be there, and also the Public Service Commission in various provisions will be established. Okay, and although the main aim of this measure was to serve the British interest, it became the basis of the civil service system in independent India. Okay, so what is the main aim? Means they are going to serve for British in their own interest. Okay, but to become the basis or to become the base of civil service system with the independent India. Okay, and next one is army. And army was the second important pillar of the British administration in India. The East India Company started recruiting its own army, which came to know as a sepoy from Sipai or soldiers army. Okay, so the next one is they are going to selecting the persons for army. Okay, and second, which is considered as a pillar of the second largest pillar of British administration in India. So the East India Company started to take the army members. Okay, it is came to be the Sipai. Okay, the Sipai army was trained and disciplined according to the European military standards and was commanded by the European officer. Okay, so they will well trained and also with the disciplined with like a European military. Okay, and which is commanded by the European officers in the battlefield. Okay, which is trained by Europeans officers only. Okay, during the early stage of British rule, 3 separate armies had been organized in 3 presidencies of Bengal and Bombay and Madras. Okay, so they are started to give 3 separate armies. Okay, so in Bengal, Bombay and Madras and all, they started to give 3 presidencies. And the army had a great contribution in the establishment and expansions of British rule in India. So the army having more contribution, and also they started established in the British rules in India. Indian soldiers were given less salaries and allowances than English soldiers. So English soldiers Indian soldiers ku vandu kammiyana sambalam dhaan kodupanga. Okay, in 1857 the Indian constituted about 86% of the total strength of the company's army. So Indian army எப்படி வந்து company's army எப்படி increase ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சுன்னா 86% அளவுக்கு increase ஆக ஆரம்பிச்சிருச்சு. However, the officers of the army were exclusively British. Okay, so the army officers fully from the British only. For example, in 1856 only 3 Indians in the army received the salary of 300 rupees per month. So the Indian armies, okay, Indian armiesல இருக்கிறவங்க அவங்களோட ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அவங்களோட salary எவ்வளோதான் இருக்கும்னா 300 per month ஒரு மாதத்துக்கு 300 ரூபா தான் salary. The highest rank on Indian could ever reached was that of the subsidiary. Okay, well, they will not reach the higher rank. Okay, and the strength of British army, Peninsular War 1950 European infantry, 100 European artillery, and also 50 English sailors and 2,100 Indian sepoys, and English army of 6,000 troops were maintained in Bengal. And in 1857 the strength of the army in India was 3,07,400 of whom 2,65,000 900 were Indians. It is the officers were British. Okay, so most of them will be Britishers only. And after the revolt of 1857, the important changes were made in the Indian Army service in 1858. They increased the British troops and reduced the Indian troops. Also, only the English were appointed in artillery. Okay, so the Indians, the most of them where will be where will be in started to reduce the Indian troops, and also they increased the British troops only. And police, when the East India Company took over the Diwani in 1765, the Mughal police systems were under the control of Fujaras, okay, so who were in the charge of the sarkars or ruled the districts. Okay, so when the East India Company took over the Diwani system, the Mughal police system will be established. Okay, the Mughal system police under the control of Fujaras, who will be the charge of sarkars and rulers of the district. Okay, Fujaras the yaar rulers of the district. And Kotwals were in the charge of town. Okay, Kotwal will be the in charge of town, while the village watchmen were paid and controlled by Jamindars. Okay, so the village வந்து யார் கீழ தான் கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணிருப்பாங்க, யார் தான் கண்ட்ரோல் பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா ஜமீன்தார்ஸ் only. The police system was created by a Lord Cornwallis. He relieved the Jamindars from the police function and established a regular police force in 1791. So the Jamindar system வந்து யார் வந்து ரிலீவ் பண்ணது அப்படின்னா Cornwallis only. ஓகேவா, ஸோ அவங்கள ரிலீவ் பண்ணிவிட்டு அந்த போலீஸ் ஃபோர்ஸுக்குன்னு தனியாக ரெகுலேஷனை கொண்டு வராங்க. ஓகேவா, Cornwallis established a system of circles or தானாஸ். ஓகே, ஈச் ஹெட்டட் பை அ தரோகாஸ். ஓகே, ஸோ Cornwallis வந்து ஒவ்வொரு சிஸ்டத்துக்கும் தானாஸ் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறாரு, இல்லைன்னா சர்க்கிள்ஸ் சொல்கிறாரு. ஸோ ஈச் சிஸ்டத்துக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஹெட் இருப்பாங்க, அவங்க தான் என்னென்னா தரோகா. த அத்தாரிட்டி ஆஃப் தரோகா எக்ஸ்டெண்டட் டு வில்லேஜ் வாட்ச்மேன் who perform the police duties in the village. ஓகேவா, ஸோ த அத்தாரிட்டி ஆஃப் தர்கா, they will be the watchman for the they will watch the duties, okay, police duties in the village. Okay, and the hereditary police, village police became the chowkidars in the big cities. The old office of Kotwals was, however, continued, and Taroga was appointed to each of the wards of the city. The Taroga system was extended to Madras in 1802. So next, before the post of district superintendent of police was created, all the Thanas were under general the supervisions of the district judge. Okay, so there will be a district superintendent of police will be created. Okay, so all the Thanas under the control of supervision of district judge. Okay, in 1808, superintendent of police was appointed for each division. Okay, so for each division they are appointing superintendent of police. Okay, and later the district collector was entrusted with the task of controlling the police force in the district. Okay, so after that for each district they are appointing district collector. Okay, so the district collector only observing or controlling the police forces in the district. Okay, the main task of the police was to handle the crime and to prevent conspiracy against the British rule. Okay, British rules ke against யாரும் நடக்காத மாதிரி பார்த்துக்கிறது தான் யாரோட டியூட்டி, the policeோட டியூட்டி. Okay, and judicial systems, in 1772 the dual government was abolished and the company took over the district responsibility for the collection of revenue as well as the administration of the justice. Okay, so in 1772 the dual government will be abolished. Okay, ரெண்டு வகையான government abolish பண்ணிறாங்க. The company only taking care of the collections of revenue as well as the administration, okay, of justice. Consequently, the Diwani adult and Gujarati adult were established. Okay, so these things will be established by the Regulating Act of 1773. The Supreme Court was set up in Calcutta. Okay, so on this year they are set up in Supreme Court in Calcutta. This court consists of a Chief Justice and the 3 puisne judge who were appointed by the Crown. Okay, so there will be a Supreme Court. In Supreme Court there will be they are appointing Chief Justice and also 3 puisne judges, and by these persons are appointed by the Crown, and this court deals with the civil, criminal and ecclesiasticals and administrative cases. Okay, so these things and all deals with these courts only. Okay, on the model of Supreme Court of Calcutta, a Supreme Court was established in Madras in 1801. Okay, and in Bombay and 1823. Okay, so on the model of the Supreme Court of Calcutta மாதிரி எங்கேயும் இன்னொரு கோர்ட் எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணுறாங்கன்னா மெட்ராஸில். ஓகே, in the year 1801 and in Bombay 1823. பாம்பேயில் 1823 எஸ்டாப்ளிஷ் பண்ணுறாங்க. and in 1833 William Bentinck started jury system in Bengal. Okay, he only starting the jury system in Bengal. and the Indian Law Commission was established to compile the laws. Okay, and the rule of law was established for the whole empire. According to the Indian High Courts Act 1861, 3 high courts were set up in Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in place of the old Supreme Courts. Okay va, so adukapra enna pandranga already we know that. Okay, high courts are also they are set up in these places. Okay, Calcutta, Bombay, Madras. Okay, and the old Supreme Courts will be there. Okay, and Sir Elgijo Impey was the first Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Court at Fort William in Bengal. Okay, and Sir Thiruvarur Muthuswamy was the first Indian Chief Justice of Madras High Court. Okay, in Madras High Court he will be the first Indian in the post of Chief Justice. Okay, next one is subsidiary alliances. Okay, the Lord Wellesley introduced the system of subsidiary alliances to bring the princely states under the control of the British. Okay, so the Lord Wellesley only introducing this alliances. Okay, subsidiary alliances in order to control the princely states under the British control. Okay, it was not most effective instrument for the expansion of British territory and political influence in India. So it is not considered as a effective one. Okay, in order to control the India, and that the princely states was also called the protector state, and the British came to be referred as the paramount power. Okay, so the princely states was called the protector state, and the British came to be referred as the paramount power. It was the duty of British to safeguard the state from the external aggressions and to help its ruler in the maintaining the internal peace. Okay, so it is the British duty to safeguard the state from the external affairs. Okay, and also help the rulers to maintain the internal peace. Okay, and main features of the subsidiary alliances. In Indian ruler entering into this this alliance with the British had to dissolve his own armed force and accept British forces. Okay, so if any Indian ruler entering into this subsidiary alliances means with the British means British had to dissolve British have to close his own armed forces and accept the British forces. Okay, avangaloda armed forces cancel பண்ணிட்டு க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டு British forces ஓட ஜாயின் பண்ணிக்கணும். and British resident would stay in his capital, so they have to stay in British resident only. and towards the maintenance charge of the army, he should make an annual payment or quote some territory permanently to the company. Okay, but they have to pay some charges for annual payment. Okay, and all the non-English European officials should be returned out his state. Okay, so all the non-English European officials should be under the control of British. Okay, and the native rulers should deal with the foreign states only through the English company. Okay, so the native rulers they have deal with the foreign state mean through English company only they have to agree with the deal. Okay, the British would undertake to defend the state from internal troubles as well as the external attack. Okay, so the British would be undertake the defend against the state from any internal troubles as well as the external attack. and merits for this British, the British company maintained a large army at the expense of the Indian rulers. All the Frenchmen in the in the service of native rulers were dismissed. Okay, so Frenchmen will be they dismissed, and the dangers of the French revival was completely eliminated. Okay, so French revival they will completely eliminated, and the British company began to control the foreign policy of the princely state. Okay, the British company began to control the foreign policy of the princely state. So British only controlling the foreign policies of the princely states. Okay, and Wellesley diplomacy made the British paramount power in India. He transformed the British Empire in India into British Empire of India. Okay, so they only having the full power to transform the British Empire in India, and also India into a British and the Empire of India. Okay. So defects of the princely states. Okay, the subsidiary alliances made Indians rulers weak. Okay, so due to subsidiary alliances make the Indians become weak. Okay, and oppressive and irresponsible. Okay, and protected by British arms, they neglected their duty towards their subject and even exploited them. Okay, so because of this subsidiary alliances, the Indian rulers become very neglected their duty and also towards the subject and even exploited them. Okay, and the first Indian state to accept the subsidiary alliance was Hyderabad in 1798. It was followed by Tanjore and Ayodh and Peshawar and Bhonsle, Gwalior and Indore, Jaipur, Udaipur and Jodhpur. Okay, so after these places and all, they started to follow subsidiary alliances. Okay, and doctrine of lapse and Lord Dalhousie was Lord Dalhousie was one of the chief architects of the British Empire in India. He was an imperialist. Okay, imperialist. He adopted a new policy known as a doctrine of lapse to extend his British Empire. So Lord Dalhousie is considered as one of the greatest architects of the British Empire in India. Okay, so he introducing new policy, that is a doctrine of lapse, in order to extend British Empire. Okay, he made use of his persistent and declared 1848 that is, if native rulers adopted children without the prior permissions of the company, so if any native rulers, they are going to adopt any children without getting permissions from the company, the only personal properties of the rulers would go to the adopted son. ஓகேவா, ஸோ அப்படி அடாப்ட் பண்ணுறப்ப அவங்களோட சொந்த சொத்துக்கள் மட்டும்தான் அவங்களோட தத்தெடுக்கிற பிள்ளைக்கு போகும். ஓகே, அண்ட் த கிங்டம்ஸ் would go to the British paramount power. ஓகேவா, ஸோ the kingdoms belonging to the particular native rulers, that will automatically go to the under the control of British paramount power. Okay, this principle was cancelled, the doctrine of lapse. ஓகேவா, next it was bitterly opposed by the Indians. Okay, so இதில் யார் அப்போஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிருந்தா, இந்தியன்ஸ் வந்து அப்போஸ் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. and it was one of the root causes for the Great Revolt of 1857. so this is only leading the Great Revolt. Okay, and by applying the doctrine of lapse policy, Dalhousie annexed Satara in 1848 and Jaipur and Sambalpur in 1849 and Baghdad in 1850 and Udaipur in 1852 and Jhansi in 1853 and Nagpur in 1854. Okay, next, factors for the success of British: greater naval power, they having greater naval power and development of textile and scientific divisions of labor. Okay, next, economic prosperity and skillful diplomacy of British, and the feeling of insecurity among the Indians merchant. Okay, but they feel insecurity among the Indian merchant, the inequality and ignorance of the Indian kings. Okay, so this the inequality, they seen inequality and ignorance among the Indian kings. Okay, thank you, students.